Write a paragraph. How do you feel about this class where all words should be full of spelling mistakes?
Every single word? Every one of them, or just like a few of them?
1 letter word, 2 letters word, 3 letters word, you cannot make spelling mistakes. Anything more than
You can.
4 and more, you can make spelling mistakes with the tilting it here and there, or put something else, but the last 2 letters should be perfect.
The last two?
See, what, W-H-A-T, can be W and T, but in between you can write any other letter.
Okay, so the first and last letters have to be the same.
Same.
Okay, so about what is the topic? Would we...
How do you feel about the class which you are attending here? What's that?
What was it again? How we feel about this class? Good.
Did you tell Disha that it's at 3:30?
Bring a chair. Okay. Hi.
Is it raining outside?
Yeah, like drizzling-ish. Okay. You can sit on the back of this chair. Okay. You're welcome. Thanks.
Yeah, good to know.
You watch it? You watch it though?
Watch what?
Video. I don't like you.
Sorry, I tried. I wasn't home.
What?
Read.
Okay.
I really.
Read.
Read? Okay. I feel that this class is very helpful and informative. I like it because it is fun and
Interactive.
Interesting. The environment is
Or interactive though. Warm.
warm and
Welcoming.
welcoming.
So overall,
I feel good about the class.
I really
got one word wrong.
I really like this class because it helps us learn It helps us learn all of the SAT. Helps us learn something all SAT.
Math.
Oh, math
And
more.
and
More.
more.
Oh, it's too
Exercise.
harsh.
more and
Act.
No.
and all
About.
more about SAT.
Yeah.
The class has a nice feel to it. It educates us. Sorry?
Mhm.
Oh wow. It educates us about
ideas.
Mhm.
and the world.
Ide-
About the world.
Yeah.
ideas.
She
Or
hasn't
about
done
the-
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah.
Okay, about the world. This class is always also
Uh huh.
helpful.
Mm-mm.
No?
Hogwarts.
No, dude, that's my first thought.
I see the WTSH in the front.
Also helpful.
Hardworking.
Humorous.
Humorous. What?
What?
I don't see any M. Only the H says humorous.
Yeah, don't tell them.
It helps us stabilize. Stipulate.
I don't even remember that one.
Scarf.
You don't even know it.
What was the last word I wrote again?
Wait, let's look at the other words. I can't actually tell because
That's
about is
about,
ATTD. What is this?
I didn't mix it. Wait, what is it?
That's the last word. SLC.
What is this?
It helps us stabilize. I don't know. Wait, let's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You put
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a 9-letter word. 9-letter word
Take
starts
this
with.
picture and post that. When she came to me, her English was this. This back.
What is that last word?
It's the standard of American students.
Helps us
Yeah.
what? Helps us what?
Do we also have to write like
Helps
that?
us study.
See why I do that? Because when you read, you don't have to. You know that this is about this topic. Then you don't have to closely look at it. You can read very fast. Don't worry about the spelling, the structure of the sentence. It's correct. You know this is the topic which I am reading. Then you can
What
read
does
very
end with
fast.
E? It ends with E, it starts with S and ends with E.
Because most of the time you spend a lot of time on
That's
looking
smart.
at the spelling and all that, no?
Stimulate.
Stipulate. I said stimulate, stipulate, sarcophagus. I don't know.
Sarcophagus, everything to do with the Egyptians.
It helps us what?
You don't know.
Succeed. Oh, that's good.
I think that was it.
But then why would it end with the E?
That's also a good point.
Summarize.
It has 10 letters. Wait.
Summarize.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It has 10 letters.
Summarize.
A-R-I-Z-E. Oh, that's mine.
Maybe it has 9. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of saw an edge of an 8.
Summarize.
You know what? We're just going to change it. It helps us learn.
Where's the book?
Weightlifting. I brought it today.
E-A.
Weightlifting.
Wow.
This is not weightlifting. This is javelin throw. Shot put.
Good job, clumsy.
Yeah.
And then that I was clumsy.
What do you want? You stop somewhere.
You can try math or English. Of course
Let's do
not.
English. Let's do English.
We did synthesis, right?
That's done, no?
Yeah, we did synthesis, rhetoric,
That's
and
that's just some bulk questions.
What time?
How about the SAT writing and language test?
That's what we did know.
What's the date?
It's the 18th. Because I just got my
Well-
peer review stuff. 103.
it's the 18th.
Yeah, this is
Just
just.
work of summer gone.
How'd it go?
Huh?
How'd it go? It's just peer review. You're looking over other people's stuff. and grading. How'd it go? There's some really bad ones. Like I had 5 and 2 were really bad. Anyways. No, like your feedback. What about my feedback? No, that doesn't come back to me.
Oh, it doesn't? Stop stealing this.
I don't have one.
Then bring one next time.
Writing will be central.
This, you had a similar one.
I mean, I have it on the end of a pencil.
If you keep this and you take this, assuming this is yours,
Well,
that you know what's it called in law?
stealing?
No, it should be never called as stealing.
Borrowing?
Accidental
The
acquisition.
accidental acquisition, there is a technical term which is called a tort. T-O-R-T. Tort.
Guessing. That's great.
Hmm?
I was guessing.
Heard this? What is tort? Ask what is tort?
Okay, Google. What's tort?
All right, here you go. This is It's Friendship Day from Nickelodeon on Google Play Books.
Okay, Google, stop.
Nickelodeon.
Okay, Google, stop.
It's Friendship Day.
Okay, Google, stop.
Shouldn't fall dead. Dora set out to visit
Hey, Google, stop.
Stop.
Spell it.
Okay, Google. What is T-O-R-T?
According to Wikipedia, a tort in common law jurisdictions is a civil wrong that causes a claimant to suffer loss or harm resulting in legal liability for the person who commits the causes act.
A picture of corn.
That's corn? I thought that's corn.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it again?
I was a baby. Okay, Google. What is T-O-R-T? That is a tart.
According to Wikipedia, a tort in common law jurisdictions is a civil wrong that causes a claimant to suffer loss or harm resulting in legal liability for the person who commits the tortious act.
Civil wrong. The trash can.
Why?
You know the banana we got? I left it in my bag and it smushed everything.
That's why she's taking her pencil and then mobile.
Wait, this one?
Kitchen end. The whole bag she's going to throw. Including the books.
It's a friendship day.
I don't think I got that tort.
No, she said what story? And I went, what story? So I pulled up a Google audiobook and was just like, it's
Out of all of
friendship
them, it is
day.
Dora. I think I seen that Dora in the Lost City of Gold trailer.
The what? The Lost City of Gold. The
Explorers, my middle name.
Oh yeah. Look,
I
everybody,
was
Dora
supposed
brought
to-
a knife on the field trip. I love that. Like,
And then later
The
they're like,
amount
oh
of
my god,
sass.
Dora's awesome.
here's my spirit animal. That one lady who's always criticizing Zora. Dora.
Okay, now my cheeks are hurting.
Me too. I can't smile this much in a day.
What should I make it bananas though?
Remember we went to that
I have raisins, everybody.
Tea?
Oh yeah, she ate 21 boxes of raisins, but she has between today and tomorrow. Today only ate 10. Today and yesterday. Yeah. And
Yeah.
she has another one. She has
About the SAT writing
and language.
and language test.
Okay, writing will be central to your post-secondary education, whether your plans involve college or some form of workforce training. Along with speaking and creating media, writing is a critical communication tool, one that you will use continually in a variety of ways, both informal and formal.
What is the difference between formal and informal?
Your audience?
Hmm?
The audience you're speaking, you're saying, or writing it to?
form.
And
What is a formal communication and informal communication?
Formal is like an email, and informal is like text.
yeah.
Hey, how are you doing?
No, don't think that if you structure it, it becomes no. See, an informal communication is at the end of maybe 10 minutes. If somebody asks you what is the content, nothing may be there in your casual discussion at home. Is there anything content? Will you speak for 10 minutes, 20 minutes to your father, mother, everybody is together? Let us talk about this subject today. Will you discuss like this?
No.
No. You may talk something about the
Yes.
what you have seen on the road, and between your mother will come, and then how was that coffee, then you will talk about coffee, and then maybe something else will come, maybe you will see some other program in the TV, and then they will tell you he's a good actor. So you jump from one topic to another topic. At the end of some time you see that it was not connected to each other. Okay, such discussions are informal discussions. Formal means there has to be a theme coming out. A formal writing is one after a half page or 1 page. The other day you wrote full 1 paragraph. That's informal writing. You mixed so many ideas together, right? It may be connected or disconnected, but you don't have a structure. Formal is when you give a structure. So in formal writing, what is to be done? There has to be paragraph. One idea, one theme should be in 1 paragraph. If there is another idea, it should go into
Another paragraph.
different paragraph. And you can also, as you said, casual but formal. Right? Now we are doing a class, and half an hour if you take, there is a formal discussion, but we are doing it so casually. You understood? So casual and good speakers are those people, public speaking also. A good speaker is one who make a formal concept in an informal way. Because everyone in this world love informal discussions, not formal discussions. But how it should be done? In formal activity can be done so informally. But some people, what they will do? Informal things also they will make so formal. Daughter, you come here, stand there. Right? Or some people, what they will do? Any formal thing, they will make too formal so that people will not be able to follow that. Got it? So formal is little serious. The activity can be serious, but the presentation can be. See, she made a presentation. Did you see that? YouTube? It's a formal presentation, but you did it so informally. That's why it becomes attractive. That's why you got more than almost 250 now views. Yeah, reaching 300 views in 2 days.
Is it for the Khan account, I think?
You're a YouTuber.
So you're doing video.
Yeah.
What's your account?
Ritisha Rashmo. That's it. So
Creative.
creative.
I know.
Yeah.
You may use notes, journaling, or the like to record information to aid memory and to clarify thoughts and feelings for yourself. You may also create essays, poems, reports, and so on to share information and ideas with others in a more structured,
Generally,
fully developed way.
Generally people use text. That is the basic structure for communication. Now you had textbooks in your lower primary classes. Was it more colorful or this is more colorful? Why today we don't have colorful books?
Because we can follow it without color.
Yeah. So text added with the color can be ULOUR or UOR.
Here it's all.
American is OR. British is UR. So add color, it becomes more attractive. I'm sure today also you will love books with the colorful things, right? And then what you will do? You add pictures. And to represent the data, you will add a table. Correct? We did one program in which made a table and then expense of different people and all that, right? Cloth 50%.
Oh yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
Got it? So that's a table. But the table you can convert it into graph, diagrams. That will give you more pictorial. So that's one method. So the picture itself can be a casual picture or which you pick it up from somewhere. So this could be a mathematical communication. Right? Then assume you want to talk about the story of a maybe there is some animals involved or maybe some birds. So how do you make the bird chirping? But
You make the sound into
sound into that. So what do you do? Audio. Add audio into that.
Tweet, chirp,
Right?
chirp.
Assume that you want to talk that Mahatma Gandhi was talking on this subject. Then you can put a audio or maybe you can add a video. Then as she did in her presentation, what did you do? Animation and simulation. Simulate it and animate it. What is simulation and animation difference? Look at all these terminologies and then learn technically what does it mean. Okay? So what are you doing actually here? From here to here, you are improving your presentation skill. This is called multimedia. So the multimedia communication, earlier audio, video and all was very difficult. But you all have taken birth in AD. I have taken birth in BC. correct? Yeah. Before computers and after digital. So for you this becomes very simple because your birth is after digital, all color. Otherwise printing a text with the color is difficult. But today printing, making it, assume that you are making it in a Word or a digital book. What you will do? All this title you will put in one color, the other text will be in another color minimum. So that means you can change it into color.
What does that say?
Communication. So your multimedia communication. I am a person who learned multimedia communication under University Grants Commission. You heard this in India?
Yeah, I think I did.
Indian education is under University Grants Commission. Every college, every degree has to be approved by UGC. Even if it is in different states like Kerala, UP, wherever it is, all that college and course and the content is approved through University Grants Commission. So the authority for higher education, college education in India is under UGC up to PhD and doctorate and all that. And they have got a center for CEC, not CEC. It is CEC, Education Consortium for Educational Communication. So there I learned how to make animation, simulation and all that. So what will be your class? Your class will become, like when you use all of them, your class will become a production. What is the production? A multimedia production. Multimedia production is a movie. So you can make your class itself like a movie. That's what she has done. Now assume 20 minutes of such a content. If you make a presentation and give it to these people, they will fund you. They will give you money. And that is equivalent to one research publication in India. Got it? So it's very, very important in academics. Multimedia. What is it called? Multimedia communication. Yeah.
In the latter cases, you'll probably take each piece of writing through a variety of steps, from planning to polishing. Your writing process may
Planning to?
polishing.
Polishing. This production process is called polishing. You will edit it. Right? Planning is the beginning. So this is how I must write. See, now what did I do? I spoke about this, but I wrote in a graphical style, right? Yeah. Now everybody copied. Yeah. Okay.
Your writing process may differ from that of others, and your own process may change depending on the nature of the writing task, purpose, and audience, not to mention how much time you have. But revising your writing to improve the content and editing your writing to ensure that you've followed the conventions of standard written English are likely to be key parts of most projects. The SAT Writing and Language Test is designed to emulate these two tasks, assessing how well you can revise and edit a range of texts to improve the expression of ideas and to correct errors in sentence structure, usage, and punctuation.
Wait, what does emulate?
Emulate.
Emulate.
Emulate is what? Start, trigger, spark. Emulate interest. Ask, what does it mean?
Hey Google, what does emulate mean?
Here's the definition of emulate. Match or surpass a person or achievement, typically by imitation.
Lesser man trying to emulate his. What? Read that sentence.
The SAT Writing and Language Test is designed to emulate these two tasks, assessing how well you can revise and edit a range of texts to improve the expression of ideas and to correct errors in sentence structure, usage, and punctuation.
No, it's not copying. He said it's you just copy, right?
That's not what it always means, though, right? There's another definition.
You can pick up few ideas and then put it together so that it looks, interesting. Yeah.
The passages on the Writing and Language Test vary in purpose, subject, and complexity. Some passages and possibly questions will also include one or more informational graphics such as tables, graphs, and charts. And you'll be expected to use the information in these graphics to inform decisions about revising the associated passage.
What is that?
You have to take information from the passages to answer questions
Hmm?
and revise the paragraph
How do you do that?
by reading it, like skimming it.
Highlighting the main points and the details.
There will also be graphics. Unlike passages on the reading test, passages on the writing and language test are written.
Unlike passages on the reading test, passages on the writing and language test are written specifically for the test. That way we can more easily introduce errors, or our general term for the various rhetorical and mechanical problems we assess on the test. You'll encounter the passages and questions in side-by-side columns, with each passage spread over multiple pages in the left-hand column and associated questions in the right-hand column. Question numbers embedded in the passage, along with other forms of annotation, especially underlining, let you know what part of the passage is being tested at any given point. In some cases, questions may ask about a passage as a whole. Do you want to read the next? No. I think I just read that part. I didn't read that part yet.
You didn't? Yeah, this isn't. The steps in a scientific investigation is found on each test. Other passages on the test serve mainly to inform, to explain, or to argue in support of a claim. Subject. Writing and language test passages cover a variety of subject areas, including career-related topics, the humanities, social history/social studies.
Generally,
and
when you write a scientific article, the gist or abstract is given first. Abstract or synopsis, summary, different words. Brief. But it's called generally abstract or synopsis.
Wait, in the scientific article that's good.
Yes. Then what they will do is keywords. So you can look at the keywords, technical terms. Then an introduction is given. After giving an introduction, what they will do is as part of introduction, the objective and scope has to be there. Then write a literature survey. What is literature survey means? See here, what are we giving? We are giving the vision. What is this article is about? That means you have a title. So for this title, what is the vision? That is what is written. But then whatever you are writing is not the first in the whole world. People must have written, people must have done similar work, right? So you will give reference to such things. That is what is called a literature survey. Assume if it is an activity which you are doing. For example, you are going to do something for the environment. Therefore, definitely there will be somebody else doing similar job. So that can be a survey. So give reference to, all the references should become here. That's what is called a literature survey. Then what you will do, here objective and scope, you already defined the problem. Here again problem will be defined, definition, plus write the methodology. After the methodology, now real solution. You will have your own method. With this method, I am going to solve this problem. So this is the problem solving. After problem solving part, you have conclusion. Conclude bar result, discussion. This is how a scientific article has to be written, or any technical article. Yeah, read that again.
Writing and language test passages cover a variety of subject areas, including career-related topics, the humanities, history, social studies, and science. Passages on career-related topics aren't workplace documents, such as memos or reports. Instead, they're general interest pieces on trends, issues, and debates in common career pathways, such as healthcare and informational technology. Humanities passages focus
What
on
is
the
humanities passage?
humanities are like history, social studies, science.
Okay.
Humanities passages focus on the arts and letters and include texts on fine art, film, music, literature, and the like. History, social studies passages include texts on topics in history as well as in the social sciences, such as anthropology, archaeology.
What is anthropology?
It's the study of human.
Evolution.
Evolution.
The human beings of today, the previous Janma is from where? You said you have seen Sultan movie, right?
I have Jesus.
Yes. You saw Sultan movie. So immediately after that somebody makes a comment, yeah, now we know monkeys were our forefathers.
They weren't. They were just part of the humans and monkey. Humans and primates are just our.
You're a monkey or a human now?
I'm a human.
Huh?
I'm a human.
Okay.
Wait,
We're not. They're not our ancestors. They're just.
we
Long,
evolved
long,
from
long. No, they're not our. We had a common ancestor with them.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't our common ancestor.
I watched the BBC.
primates were.
Basically, they had we all had a
Gorillas
common
were,
ancestor.
chimpanzees were.
They all pulled off around like right here, and then humans started splitting off over here. Took a while.
Wait, so what exactly are humanities? Are they like
So that
social
subject is
arts?
called anthropology. Anthropology doesn't mean only the biological growth, the social aspect also.
Yeah, evolution in general of like society.
Evolution can be a science biology study, but you put social aspect of that, it becomes anthropology. So anthropology is more a social science than a biology, but it has got something to do with the biology as well. Yeah.
Such as anthropology, archaeology, economics, and psychology.
What is archaeology?
Study of bones.
Like
The dinosaurs.
the study of artifacts.
It's like
You find
history.
the artifacts.
Archaeology is finding facts of the history, helping them to find out. One of the method is carbon dating technology. You dig somewhere and then find out how old is that. So one of them happen to be bones and skulls and all that, but not all that. Even you dig somewhere and you got a old structure of a temple which is. So immediately archaeology department will occupy that and they'll say it belongs to us because we have to do research on that. Then after a lot of research they will convert that into a museum. Right? So all museums are under archaeology department. I don't know here. In India it's all with the archaeology department. It could be under culture but not under science. Okay? Yeah.
Science passages cover both foundational scientific concepts as well as recent advances in fields such as
Scientific
earth science.
concepts plus advances. All the literature survey will talk about what happened with it these days.
In fields such as earth science, biology, chemistry, and physics.
What is earth science?
Study sciences.
Like,
Geophysics, geology.
Geography. No.
Geography is also a little bit of earth science, but not too much.
about the landslides.
Yeah,
and like
all
what
that
causes
is called.
them.
So therefore, it has got something to do with environment science and all will come under earth science. Earth is not this earth and below earth. It's also above earth, up to 140 kilometers.
Ecology.
Ecology is both in environment science, so it's part of earth science plus biology. They are all called multidisciplinary subjects, not one discipline. They are called multidisciplinary because environment science has got chemistry, diffusion of pollutants, how it is spread. So it has got to do with physics. Equations are all written in mathematics, and applications in the social science. It also has got biology. Suppose you want to study environment science, you must know all the subjects.
Complexity. The reading challenge.
What is complexity?
Complicated.
Why is it complicated?
It involves
Because
knowledge.
it has a lot of subjects.
What I can show you is real. What I cannot show is called imagination. So complex things are
Both.
more imaginative. So it has got two parts. Complex things will have one real and one. That's why in mathematics it is called a complex number, x plus iy, which can be written in x plus iy, where x is real, y is real, but a imagination is also there. Right? This is complex number. So what is complexity in this world?
The reading challenge posed by the passages on the test varies. Some passages are relatively straightforward.
Straightforward, real.
They may, for example, have a very clear purpose, present a fairly small amount of information, and use familiar language. Other passages, by contrast, are more complex. They have more subtle purpose, require the reader to follow a complicated series of events, and make use of long and involved sentences. It's important to note that each writing and language test has a similar range of passage complexity, so you shouldn't worry about taking a test that has nothing but highly challenging passages.
Happy? Happy?
Wait.
Happy? Done?
Yeah.
Good enough? You want to rest?
Yeah, I did.
Oh no, I was just looking at it.
What?
Good.
The next one? Okay. One additional feature of passages is also important to note here. Okay. Informational graphics, passages, and occasionally questions on the writing and language test may include one or more tables, graphs, charts, or like that relate to the topic of the passage. A graphic may, for example, provide additional statistical support for a point made in the passage. Questions may ask you, for example, to use information from the graphics to correct an error in the writer's reporting of data, or to replace the passage's vague description of findings with a more precise one using specific quantities.
Good. You want to sleep?
I'm good.
And hit the neighbor. No, while taking the hand, you should hit the neighbor. Yeah.
Okay.
Just too excited.
Will you stop here or here?
Just right there.
Okay. All of the passages on the writing and language test are high quality, well edited pieces of writing developed specifically for the test. They convey interesting information, explore intriguing ideas, and offer new insights. Although the primary purpose of the passages is to help assess your revising and editing knowledge and skills, it's our hope that you find the passages engaging and worth reading.
Earlier at your age, I used to do this. Take it back. Full.
I can do that.
No, hold it like this. That's how you should, yeah. And take it back.
Like that.
You can tilt this hand and then take it back. Now I cannot even move half of that. You can. I used to do that at your age. No. From top it will come straight down.
Like what?
Yeah. Now you tilt this hand. Bring it down and tilt it there.
Like this?
I used to take it exactly back. It will go. Now I cannot even move half of this. I've got a
Like just
problem.
switch shoulders, like.
Yeah.
No, you cannot take it straight, but you should take from one side.
I can do this though. I can I can put both of my elbows down. Like you just do that.
The whole thing
And
will
put
come
your-
back.
Put it like this, and then put it all the way down.
Like pop the shoulders out.
Your t-shirt.
Even like this.
Yeah, you can do it.
Like,
you can tilt
you'll
it
end up-
beside and then
You'll
take it
end
from
up
the
like
front
this.
and tilt it like this. Yeah. And here you can take it top, it will go back. Now I cannot do it.
I cannot. I want to do it, but I
I
can't.
used to do it. Okay, you want to practice it, there is a better method.
Yeah.
The better method is, I'll tell you.
No, yes.
You can watch this.
No, take a small, you have towel,
A
kerchief,
towel?
or a string, or a pencil. Yeah, this is good enough. Take this pencil,
Oh.
hold this, and then reduce this slowly. That's how we practice. First take a full pencil, then take it smaller and smaller. You can take your strip or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use my keys. They're much longer.
Oh, good job.
Okay. Got something?
Yeah, that is too big actually.
No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. With that you can do easily.
Okay. Totally. And then just.
Yeah, that's it. Now you are doing it, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Now reduce it slowly. That's how we practice. Now you take it back.
With this and then what?
Ouch.
And then you pull it back so you end up like.
No, you hold it like
I
this.
can't
See,
pull it
she
back.
did it.
Then you just go.
That string, yeah, like this. And reduce that length every day.
my
Practice it
Oh,
for a few
look,
days.
Can I use your string?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
You can do it in few days. Yeah. Done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Reduce it slowly every day. In 1 week you will be able to do it.
I can reduce it once it's back here.
My shoulder.
You can practice it. You can do it.
I'll pull it back.
Half of that you can do it now itself. I'm sure you can do it with the half. Yeah. You can do it now. Yeah, do it. Yeah, that's it. That's
Did it hurt?
as simple as that. No, it will not hurt.
I just hurt my shoulder a bit. It hurts.
You can do it now.
I have double jointed shoulder.
But what you do is keep it closer, 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 and then hold it and then practice for a few days. Yeah, that's it. It's very simple.
Pulls a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you cannot do it now, finish. Your whole life you cannot do
like,
it.
all the way around.
But at least I'm able to say I used to do it, right? Do it now so that you can
So
tell.
she can pull it.
You know, it's not. There's no such thing as being double jointed. You're just supposed to be flexible.
Yeah, her tendons are loose here.
It's only possible for you. It's possible now. Now
No,
this is
like-
frozen. I can't do it.
No, like some people can take their arms straight and all the way around.
Like I can do it like here, and then I can. Usually people stop here, but I can go all the way down. I'm doing it.
Okay, now come.
More? Okay, good.
Where are you now?
Here, writing and language test questions. Okay. Now that we've talked about. Now that we've talked about the passages on the writing and
No,
language.
now we didn't talk about the passage. Now we talked about taking your hands back.
Okay, now that we've talked about taking our hands back, it's time to turn the questions.
Oh.
All of the questions are multiple choice, which means that you'll pick the best of 4 options for each question. The questions are also centered in multi-paragraph passages, so you won't be tested on isolated rhetorical or grammar usage, and mechanics skill.
Grammar,
Usage,
usage.
and mechanics skills.
What is that?
Mechanics skills? Mechanics skill.
What is mechanical skill?
It's the skills needed by mechanical.
It's the skills needed to like string.
What is
Yeah,
milkshake?
together.
Milkshake. Don't explain it.
Because all questions are passage based. You want to consider the passage.
See, the mechanical is what is mechanics? When I use a force, it moves. Right? So that means when I write something, there is a induced effect. You remember in the beginning, we learned about cause and effect.
Yeah.
That's mechanics. So when you write something, it has got an implicit or explicit. So explicit is fine, but implicit things will be there. Realizing it is what is called the mechanics. Arthamaindama?
You'll want to consider the passage context carefully before answering each question. Sometimes focusing only on the sentence that a particular question refers to is enough to get that question right. But in other cases, you'll have to think about the entire paragraph or passage as a whole to get good feel for the best response. Questions are sequenced in order of appearance, meaning that questions addressing the first paragraph come before those addressing the second paragraph, and so on. Any questions about the passage as a whole come last in a set. You'll encounter questions about informational graphics in the most logical spots in the order.
The questions in the test are designed to reflect as closely as possible the kinds of revising and editing decisions that writers and editors make. Think about a piece of writing that you've written and then gone back to improve. When you reread what you've written, what came to mind? Maybe you realized that a particular point you were making didn't have enough support, so you added some. Maybe you recognized that you'd forgotten to put in a transition between two ideas, so you clarified the connection. Or maybe you saw that the subject and the verb didn't agree, so you corrected the problem. Although you are not working with your own writing on the writing and language test, the thinking process you'll use as you revise and edit the passages on the test is similar.
Okay, now you assume you have to write an article. What is that exactly required for you is a lot of information, right? Correct or not?
Yeah.
You are using pencil for how many years now?
12. Well, 13 years.
15 years.
I'm pretty
You can
Really
speak
since-
about pencil for how many minutes? Don't repeat anything.
Maybe 1 or 2, 1.5, 1 minute probably.
Maybe 30 seconds.
2 minutes?
1 minute.
1 minute?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll prove that you can write large number of pages. You can speak for hours together on any topic in this world.
Wait, what?
Generally people feel you can't speak more about this pencil, right? Now what you do is, be you a LKG student, KG student or nursery student, take a fresh page, draw one circle in the center.
That's one.
Okay, and the KG students will make, yeah, that's a KG student.
Yeah.
And then how a KG student will draw sun,
Like this.
SUN, sun. Yeah, keep doing it. They don't draw equal lines, but it will be, no, I want minimum. Given more time, they will add more lines. Yeah, sounds fun, right, for you?
Have to
I
add.
want those
Now the
to
more
do
you
this on
draw,
my
the
webcam
more
too.
trouble you are going to have. Okay. Now, assume I want to speak about the pencil. The right here in the middle, pencil. The topic is pencil. You are going to have a divergent thinking about a pencil. That's a topic.
Can't spell it right.
Pencil spelling you forgot.
Yes.
Now she knows all spelling wrong only. Yeah.
P-E-N-C-I-L.
Yeah. Just
Now
one word.
each one of them are different paragraphs in your article.
Oh, jeez.
Why do I have to
Oh
draw so
Jesus!
many?
Now don't rub off your paragraphs. You must have that many. Okay. Now, what are all the different aspects you can write about a pencil?
How
Color,
it's
color.
shaped, how you color.
So right here, one is color, another one is shape.
Mine's a mess.
Shape,
You messed it up.
Size.
It's not my fault.
size,
No KG student will do this rubbish.
sharpening.
You are lower than KG. You are like
Have
Kindergarten drawing.
Yeah. So one is size, one is shape, another one is color. Next one,
Sharpening.
Lead.
yeah, lead. Yeah. Then
Graphene, or like what do you use for lead?
What it's used, we can use it like an eyebrow pencil.
yeah, right. Eyebrow pencil for makeup. Then
Well, I can write makeup.
Mascara with a mascara pencil, right?
Well, let's just, I'm
That's
writing
an
makeup.
eyeliner pencil.
yeah.
That's eyeliner. It doesn't
You know what? Let's do eyebrow pencil and eyeliner pencil.
Wait, are we gonna every single makeup product? Everything has a pencil.
No, but then that way you cover it
Not
more with
everything has a
chocolate.
pencil.
Okay, okay. Right. Keep on writing. Don't you speak about history of that?
Color, sharpening, size, lead.
Don't you keep talk about the history?
Feather.
Feather. Ink. You used to use ink.
No,
for?
here you have got thickness different, right?
Yeah,
Sometime.
that's lead.
Cone shaped. No, that's shape.
And then you have
Sharpener.
yeah. It comes associated with something behind, right?
Eraser.
Yeah. So you can speak about it.
Eraser size.
And the technology of making different pencil. This is different, and this your pencil is different.
Mechanical and
Bendy.
Yeah, that's a pen. Yeah.
bendy and non-bendy.
The evolution of
Evolution of pen. History of pen. Pencil or pen or pencil.
What else?
Then
first pencil. Oh, wait, that's history.
yeah, right. Anything. And you have got
Oh, that's history.
electronic pencil.
Number 2.
Pen.
Electronic pen or electronic pencil. The pen can be described.
The
Pen-
numbers.
pen as a higher grade of pencil, and you have got different numbers here: 2 HP and HP. Drawing pencil.
What else? I have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Lead
5.
size.
Wait, isn't it graphite?
Yeah, graphite and lead. So.
Graphite.
No,
and lead.
lead size.
It depends,
and You're
like,
not gonna say graphite size.
No, because since this says 2 HB, this has like a darker one. So darker pencils have more lead, and lighter pencils have more graphite.
I have 2 more paragraphs left.
I have
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Jinx.
So you share it among you. You get different numbers. Now assume you have to make a article or a paragraph or about this pencil. Don't you number them to see that which one should come first? Right? And you have lot of creative things about this. Do you know what's this?
a pencil.
Creative, yeah. Some people use it for.
Different usages.
Design. You can put design.
No, she just used it for this purpose also. I said you can
Oh,
use it.
and just
For
snap
this purpose also you can use it.
this.
And for this purpose you can use it. So there are a lot of creative purposes. Right? Creative purposes.
Okay, I'm done.
You're missing one right there.
Fine.
She can use it for a different purpose also.
Bindi? Oh.
Comb?
A comb?
To move the hair.
Oh.
And people keep it here.
Why?
So that they can just take it out.
And you can use it for different purposes. See, sometimes you want to make a hole here. Do you know how you have a name called Tulasi? Do you?
C-S-I.
Tula?
C-S-I.
C.
S-I.
S-I. This is C, right?
Yeah, you said
In Malayalam,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is called Tula.
what?
You have to make a hole for it to be
That
tula?
hole is called Tula. So if you write like this becomes Tulasi.
Tula.
It's a good right? Tulasi, right?
Oh, wow.
Good job.
Okay, now if I want to cut this and I don't have a what you can do, and I don't have a knife, what do you do?
Perfect cut.
You cut like this, right?
Couldn't you also just rip it like this?
Yeah.
Like crease it a bit and then just... Ta-da.
Or just straight up rip it.
Yeah, just...
Now assume I wanted to make a fan out of this, and I want to show this as a fan.
I love your sound, dude.
Me too.
This is a fan,
beautiful.
but only when I put this into this and then.
But
So I can use it as a stand. I can
you
use it
also
as.
do it like this, and then
Wow, that's gonna work very well.
Good.
That was
So there are a lot of creative things you can. Now you tell me, if you put them into a sequence and then start numbering it and then writing about it or maybe speaking about it, how many minutes you can speak?
3 or 4 or 5 minutes.
20 minutes for this much.
10 minutes.
You can speak hours
I
to
can
that.
do like
you know.
30 seconds on each. You could literally go into scientific details.
Scientific
When you
details
get to the
about it,
graphite
to get
part,
to the graphite part,
graphite is
yeah.
consistent of like
Yes.
neutron, proton, and like 15,000. Like I don't know how many.
You can
electrons.
speak lot about anything, right?
Yeah, but it depends. Like, is your audience
See,
willing
that's what
to
I'm saying.
listen?
That's what I'm saying. It all depends
You
on
can talk
the
for hours.
data.
Maybe 20.
So,
With
what
respect.
are the methods to make an article? The first part of it is called a data collection. What's it called? Collect your data, right? After data collection, you sequence it and then format it. You must decide whether I must speak 2 minutes or I must speak 2 hours. So you can elongate it. That means it is called formatting or scaling it. Sequence them and scale them and make a format. All that is possible only when you know your audience. For whom you are writing, that's more important. Right? If you are writing for a small child, it will be different style. But if you want to write as a scientific article, it could be different, right? So you must know the audience. Like, I can draw the picture of a small paper. I can draw a flower. I can also draw flower on a large canvas. So the time and space will decide how much I have to elaborate, whether I should be brief or I must be elaborate. All these are getting recorded. So you can decide whether you want a smaller format or a bigger format. That means whether you want a 2 minutes or 2 hours. Right? So given to any audience, you must be able to adjust in terms of standard, in terms of the time. If it is an article, in terms of the space, whether you want 2 paragraphs or 2 pages. So the first part is data collection. For data collection, what you require is divergent thinking. You must know how to think divergent. The more divergent thinking you have, that much ability to expand, or that much data will be there for you to expand.
I don't think you want people to see my son.
Okay. Yeah. Read. The last paragraph is where please do.
This one? No, sorry. This one? Right?
Yeah.
The questions also often reflect the demands of the specific sort of passage you're working with. In some passages, particularly those with informational graphics, data are important. So you're likely to be working to improve the accuracy, clarity, and precision of the writer's descriptions of those data. In other passages, particularly in narratives, sequence will be central, so a question about the logical order and flow of information and ideas is likely to show up. Although the passages are grounded in particular subject areas, the questions don't test your background knowledge of the specific topics covered. The passages in any supplementary material, such as tables or graphs, will provide all the information about a given topic that you'll need to make revision and editing decisions. Writing and language questions can be sorted into two general categories. Number 1, expression of ideas, and 2, standard English conventions. The questions won't have those labels on them, but usually it'll be pretty easy to tell the difference. A brief discussion of each category should help you get a sense of what's on the test, what knowledge and skills you're likely to make use of, and how to focus your preparation for the test. And methods by wording.
1. Expression of ideas. These questions focus on the rhetorical elements of passages. To put it another way, expression of ideas questions deal with improving the substance and quality of the writer's message. You'll be asked to revise passages to improve the development of the topic, the organization of information.
This is the development of the topic. Now what you have done, you have developed it. Then organization. Organization is the formatting and sequencing it. Organize things perfectly. Yeah.
Organization of informations and ideas. And the effectiveness of the language use. Development questions are about main ideas, such as topic sentences and thesis statements, supporting details, focus, and quantitative information in tables, graphs, charts, and so on. Organization questions focus on logical sequence and placement of information and ideas.
Logical sequence. Will you talk about invention first or uses first?
Invention.
There are both possibilities. One, you give attraction to your topic by saying these are all the uses of this. Now look at it. Then describe the way it was developed.
Information and ideas, as well as effective introductions, conclusions, and transitions. Effective language use questions ask you to improve precision and concision. Example, eliminating wordiness. Consider style and tone, for example, making sure that the tone is consistent throughout the passage, and combine sentences to improve flow and to achieve particular rhetorical effects, such as emphasis on one point over another.
Two, standard English conventions. These questions focus on recognizing and correcting grammar, usage, and mechanics, problems in passages. More specifically, these questions ask you to recognize and correct errors in sentence structure, such as run-on or incomplete sentences, usage, such as lack of subject, verb, or pronoun antecedent agreement, and pronoun antecedent agreement, and punctuation, such as missing or unnecessary commas.
Oh no. Oh no.
It was an elbow.
Wait, you ended on it. There.
You were here.
I was.
She just finished that paragraph.
You're here.
The writing and language test and overview. Some of the basic elements of the writing and language test are listed below. Familiarizing yourself with this overview may help you prepare for the test and pace yourself on test day. Total questions 44. Total time 3 to 5 minutes on average, slightly under a minute per question.
The overview is what is generally given in the introduction. Overview. It could be, introduction itself can be an overview. That means this is the objective and scope, and this is what is going to be concluded from this paragraph. So both can happen. Yeah.
So, on average, slightly under a minute per question, inclusive of passage reading time. Number of passages, 4. Passage length, 400 to 450 words, total 1,700 words. Passage subjects, 1 passage on career-related topic and 1 passage each in the humanities.
So how do you know how many words you are using in a paragraph? Whether there is sufficient number of words.
You count them?
Generally what is done is you know how many words you will write per line and count the number of lines. So if you have a notebook which generally you write something, count the number of words.
But
It will be nearly 2, 3, 4.
but if one line is
Now you wrote something. Now count how many words are there in that line. Not this casual note making. You wrote one paragraph, right?
Which, the paragraph with this one?
Yeah. See how many lines or words are there.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
but
1,
if
2,
you
3,
wrote
4,
this in the
5,
line, you
6,
count it.
7.
Are you gonna write
1,
that
2,
though
3,
typically
4,
in a
5,
normal
6,
paragraph?
7.
Generally it will be 6 to 5 to 7.
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I got 6.
Generally it is 5 to 7
That's exactly what I got.
But like
in
if
a
you
line.
write
But what if it's like, because this has a margin, what if it's like printed paper?
I had 9, 8,
We
6.
are talking about you are writing an article.
That's how you know you write smaller. I
And
had
if it is
6,
digitally
7,
done
7,
anyway,
7,
you know.
7,
The
5.
printed paper will have normally your textbook. You take the textbook and then see per paragraph how many lines you take and then multiply with the number of words in a line.
I had 9, 8, 6, 8 too.
That will be nearly 10 or 6, 7 to 10.
Because it's like a full sentence.
10? Enough. You don't have to count all. Average 10 is 10.
11.
11. 10 is average. So you will get nearly 8 to 10 lines. So 100,
80 to 100.
10 lines.
10 lines, 100. I told you, no, without even counting. So you must know your one paragraph, that's a printed version. Your paragraph should be nearly 6 or 7 lines. Say 50. That's good enough. Yeah.
One passage in each of the humanities, history / social studies and science. Passage writing modes, 1 non-fiction narrative, 1 to 2 informative / explanatory text, and 1 to 2 arguments passage. Okay. Passage complexities.
Arguments passage. You are arguing something is what you wrote is correct because you have an objective and scope. You must get your audience agree with what you are saying. That means you must present something and for which you can have your own methodology.
Passage complexities. A defined range from grades 9 to 10 to early post-secondary. Questions per passage, 11. In addition to an overall test score, the questions on the writing and language test contribute to various scores in the following ways. Expression of ideas, 24 questions, generally 6 per passage. Standard English conventions, 20 questions, generally 5 per passage.
Wait, what is post-secondary? Something. It was like 9 to 12 in post-secondary.
Oh, yeah. Okay, passage complexities. A defined range from 9 to 12 to early post-secondary.
What is post-secondary?
Okay, Google.
Okay, Google. What is post-secondary?
According to Wikipedia, tertiary education, also referred to as third level, third stage or post-secondary education, is the educational level following the completion of a school providing a secondary education.
College.
Yes. Standard English conventions, 20 questions, generally 5 per passage. Command of evidence, 8 questions, generally 2 per passage. Words in context, 8 questions, generally 2 per passage. Analysis in history / social studies, 6 questions, all of the expression of ideas questions on the history / social studies passage. Analysis in science, 6 questions, all of the expression of ideas questions on the science passage. Note, some writing and language questions contribute to multiple scores. Did I make it 9? Chapter 10 recap. The SAT writing and language test measures your knowledge and skills in revising and editing texts, widely varied in purpose, subject, and complexity.
So what you should do is tomorrow, when you are coming, decide any topic of your choice. Write an article on that.
Oh, okay.
Anything
Informative?
informative
But
with your views
Does our topic have to be real? Does the topic have to be unimaginative, or can we
Anything.
like can I do it about like unicorns?
Anything. It's your choice.
I'm doing unicorns. Okay. That's fine.
And all of you are going to.
Hold on.
It's all up to you. You can decide.
So I
Where's
can.
my eraser?
You can decide now.
So anything
Look at page.
like we're looking one page,
200 words.
Do we have to write it or can we type it?
200 words.
Write it and bring it.
Formal.
Yeah, it's a formal topic.
So do we have to use the scientific one, or do we just do?
Anything, social science, scientific, cultural, criticism.
200 words.
You know what's criticism?
It's giving feedback.
It could be review of anything. It could be any movie which you saw, and it could be a criticism on that. In Sanskrit, criticism is called nirupanam. What is it called?
Nirupanam.
Rupam is shape. Nirupanam is
Here.
creating shape. So, your article will go to somebody else to criticize. She will have to read it and make a criticism on your article. Whether it is done perfectly as per the rules. Now you say that these are all the changes to be made. And you say that this is given 4 out of 5 marks. That's called Nirupanam. Nirupanam is criticism. So when you criticize, next time you will improve it. So that's why it is called a Rupam has to be made into perfect. That's what is called a Nirupanam. So criticism is a method for improve your writing skill or in it for anything, even art. Yeah.
The questions on the test are multiple choice and passage based. They represent the kinds of choices writers and editors routinely have to make. They reflect differences in the content and nature of the passages and cover 2 basic areas: expression of ideas and standard English conventions.
And create 5 questions out of your paragraph. So others will have to answer it.
So 5 questions that you'll get the answers from the paragraph.
Paragraph.
Questions don't test topic specific background knowledge. All of the information about each topic needed to answer the questions is provided to you. Some passages and/or questions on the test include 1 or more informational graphics. I don't want to do more. So 5 questions.
The writing and language test offers a significant but fair challenge to college and career ready students. Yeah.
Generally, when you see a movie, the interest is kept. What is going to come in the next screen? What's going to happen after that? When you read a novel, when you read anything, you keep looking forward for some activity, right? That is with interest. When you read here and see, it's going to end. Correct?
Yeah.
I'm just saying how much I've
You're anxious to know. It's going to be over.
So the questions are fairly natural in the sense that they mimic common revision and editing issues and are based in extending...
She is not worried because she is not here. She is in her own world. Okay.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
Extended pieces of high quality writing. You won't have to worry about applying obscure conventions or dealing with highly artificial or brief passages that provide little context for an answer. On the other hand, you will have to pay attention to the context as you answer the questions. Sometimes you'll have to read around a given place in the passage, looking both before it and after it. Or you'll have to think about the whole passage to see how the larger text influences the answer to a particular question.
A good paragraph writing, a good article writing skill. I don't know whether you were there when we did it. The essence of the article will be available in the first few paragraphs, first paragraph itself, or the last paragraph. You don't have to read the whole article. if it's a good paragraph. I'm not talking about the paragraph which common people write. Any article or paragraph given for examinations, generally the first paragraph or the last paragraph, you will get the heading for the
Can it be
topic.
in both?
Can be in both. You have to read both because sometimes the first one, I told you about one method of writing, reductio absurd method. Did I tell you? So the first paragraph could be confusing. When you read the last paragraph, you know, oh, the first one is really contradicting the last one. So you must logically think which is correct. So the last and the first paragraph. And the paragraph happens to be maybe 100 words, like 10 words per line and 10 lines. Then it will be there in the first 3 lines itself. Or first few sentences, 1 or 2 sentences itself, you will get it. Yeah.
Sometimes, too, what would seem like the best answer in many situations, such as adopting a formal tone, is a weaker choice in a given case, such as in a highly informal passage. The questions themselves will often state the goal to be accomplished, such as adding support or shifting emphasis. Paying careful attention to the goals indicated in the questions and to the contextual clues provided in the passages will go a long way towards ensuring that you do your best on the writing and language test.
Do you have any example? The end of this book.
Oh, wait.
It's chapter 10.
And,
Oh.
Oh, this is just practice for English.
no, so for both English and math, these.
Because this is the essay.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
an
okay.
essay at the end of every one, but both English and math.
Really?
Yeah, the SAT is English, math, and essay.
I
Essay is
know,
a different thing.
but like,
It's not like
okay.
plus added onto English. It's just a separate.
why did it go so far?
Go back. It's still only
293.
I'm
Oh,
in the right
because-
place. Section 2 writing and language.
You're looking at the answers for section 1.
Yeah, which means the questions will be.
Oh my god, I guess there's someone. Are you looking
The
at
English is before the math. Here you go. Writing and language. This is reading.
Just go to page 293. I know that's the start of one of them.
Yeah, but yeah, that was what this is.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wasn't looking.
Can you put it?
It's okay. Should I read the paragraph? Okay. Questions 1 through 11 are based on the following passage. Or wait, should I read the directions first? Okay.
Wait, is it an answer or a question?
Questions.
you have to read the paragraph and then the questions are based off of it.
Yeah.
I'll read the directions first. Each passage below is accompanied by a number of questions. For some questions, you will consider how the passage might be revised to improve the expression of ideas. For other questions, you will consider how the passage might be edited to correct errors in sentence structure, usage, or punctuation. A passage or a question may be accompanied by one or more graphics, such as a table or a graph, that you'll consider as you make revising and editing decisions. Some questions will direct you to an ongoing portion of a passage. Other questions will direct you to a location in a passage or ask you to think about the passage as a whole. After reading each passage, choose the answer to each question that most effectively improves the quality of writing in the passage or that makes the passage conform to the conventions of standard written English. Many questions include a no change option. Choose that option if you think the best choice is to leave the relevant portion of the passage as it is. This is the passage. Shed some light on the workplace. Studies have shown that employees are happier, healthier, and more productive when they work in an environment in which temperatures are carefully controlled. New buildings may be designed with these studies in mind. Yeah, we'll just we look at the question. I'll reread that part. New buildings may be designed with these studies in mind, but many older buildings were not. resulting in spaces that often depend primarily on artificial lighting. While employers may balk at the expense of reconfiguring such buildings to increase the amount of natural light, the investment has been shown to be well worth it in the long run for both employees and employers. For one thing, lack of exposure to natural light has a significant impact on employees' health. A study conducted in 2013 by Northwestern University in Chicago showed that inadequate natural light could result in eye strain, headaches, and fatigue, as well as interference with the body's circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the body's biological clocks, influence body temperature, hormone release, cycles of sleep and wakefulness, and other bodily functions. Disruptions of circadian rhythms have been linked to
What
sleep.
is the rhythm?
Circadian.
What does it mean?
It means it's the bodily functions, I guess.
It's how your body functions when it's how your body is timed. So
The body's clock.
the natural body clock.
That is biological clock.
Wait, what? What is the bio? Okay. Disruptions of circadian rhythms have been linked to sleep disorders, diabetes, depression, and bipolar disorder. Like any other health problems, these ailments can increase employee absenteeism, which in turn is costly for employers. Employees who feel less than 100% and are sleep deprived are also less prone to work at their maximal productivity. One company in California gained a huge boost in its employees' morale when it moved from an artificially lit distribution facility to one with natural illumination. Okay, so number 1, healthier and more. Should it have no change? Should be healthy with a. Okay,
You should
so
probably read the sentence.
yeah. But this is like grammar. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
fine.
read the
Studies
sentence.
have shown that employers are happier, healthier, and more productive when they work in an environment in which temperatures are carefully controlled. The healthier and more has a comma after the healthier and then just and more. So should we not change it? Should be healthy, comma, and more? Should be healthier, comma, and they are? Or should be healthier, comma, being more?
Studies have shown that employees are happier, healthier, and
No
they are
change.
productive.
No change,
and they
yeah.
Wait, what's the difference between that and that?
Okay.
That's healthy and
more.
healthier.
It's happier, healthy, and more productive, or happier, healthier, and more productive.
That should be
It
parallel.
would be because it's happier,
Parallel.
not happy. Then it would be healthier, not healthy.
And
Otherwise,
no
it would be happy,
change.
healthy, and
Okay.
productive.
Do you want me just to circle no change, or do you guys want to?
That's fine.
Okay.
Just
Which choice provides the most appropriate introduction to the passage? No change?
You might wanna read the
Yeah.
sentence again.
I don't know. Okay, studies have shown that employees are happier, healthier, and more productive when they work in an environment in which temperatures are carefully controlled. Which choice provides the most appropriate introduction to the passage? Should we not change in which temperatures are carefully controlled? Should we make that affords some adequate amounts of natural light? Or should it be that is thoroughly sealed to prevent energy loss? Or in which they feel comfortable asking managers for special accommodation?
B.
Yeah, I think me too.
Need to repair.
it's been about light.
It's
It's not really about special accommodation or
And it's not about being carefully
energy loss.
controlled.
It's been about like how it
The
how
natural
the
light.
it makes the employees better.
Okay. Circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the body's biological clocks, influence body temperature, hormone release. What? Oh.
Hey Google, what is circadian rhythm?
According to Wikipedia, a circadian rhythm is a natural, internal process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle and repeats roughly every 24 hours.
Circadian rhythms, which are controlled by the body's biological clocks, influence body temperature, hormone release, cycle.
The more generic terminology is biorhythm.
Rhythm.
That's what the video was about.
So biorhythm has got many aspects. One is physical, second is emotional, third is intellectual. You don't remember everything at every point of time, but sometimes you remember. After some time you forget. Again it will come back to you. Maybe somebody's telephone number, somebody's name. So there is a rhythm. It goes up and down. It's like a wave pattern. Physically also you feel sometimes very energetic. Sometimes you could feel not energetic. Sometimes you could be intellectually sharp. So socially also you will feel like mixing with the people, talking to people. Sometimes you feel not required. All these are not required. So all that together is called biorhythm. You can plot your biorhythm. There are softwares available. Give your time, date.
To do with like the horoscope.
It's all. I've done research on that. It's almost like horoscope. The Western science is biorhythm. Indian Bharatiya Shastram is astrology.
So are they like really accurate though? Naturally.
Accuracy depends on the observer and the precision of the time, place, other parameters which you give. But it almost it matches. Okay. Yeah.
Do I read the question?
Can you?
Yeah. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence. Workers in offices with windows sleep an average of 46 minutes more per night than workers in offices without windows. Should the writer make this addition here? Yes, because it supplies quantitative data that will be examined in the rest of the paragraph. Yes, because it explains the nature of the bodily functions referred to in the next sentence. No, because it interrupts the discussion of circadian rhythms. No, because it doesn't take into account whether workers were exposed to sunlight outside.
I think no, because it interrupts the discussion of circadian rhythms. Because if it's weird, like, because it's right in the between two sentences about circadian rhythms. So there's no, that's between three and, like, so this is where the sentence ends, and that's where they want to put it.
Put what?
This, workers in the offices with
Windows.
No,
so no, because it interrupts the discussion of.
Yeah, interrupts.
Okay.
Oh, somebody else read it in my third because it hurts.
Okay, I will. Where's 4? Okay. Body is biological clocks. Body is biological. Well, it's kind of a look. You have to
But
look
I'm
at yourself.
confused why, because she's been 4 natural lights so far. And some lights.
Biological clock shows what? You need to sleep at some time and then you want to eat some time and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't work in that way.
So how is it
Because-
interrupting the discussion? of
Not even
circadian?
that.
Oh,
When you
then not
assume that you are in
being
a activity which is of full interest, then your biological clock will forget. Because your interest and emotion. That is why biorhythm you have got physical. Eating is a physical requirement. But generally people don't feel hungry because you want to eat. You have the habit of eating at 12 o'clock exactly when the bell rings, at maybe at 12 o'clock you start feeling hungry. Assume somebody changes your watch and then put it at 11. Then you will delay one. Yeah, you will not feel hungry. Because the people who are very punctual, they keep looking at the watch. And it is not the requirement of your body, but it's a intellectual setup for them.
Oh, so then you'll only feel hungry after an hour later. Okay.
Whatever is the
But
time
what if
set.
you're not punctual and you just...
Yeah, then that is what I'm saying. That is one. Second one is emotional. Assume that you are in a movie or some discussions. You will delay your lunch. Maybe after the movie, after 2 hours, you will feel, oh, I'm feeling damn hungry. You should have eaten half an hour back or 1 hour back, right? Why is it happening? That because your biorhythm is much, it's a inclusive activity than the biological clock. Yeah.
This is kind of one you gotta look at. That one. For bodies, biological clocks.
I'm pretty sure it should be bodies with an
It'll be body, so that the second one be.
Yeah, except biological clocks was not.
Oh yeah. Bodies, biological clocks.
Because
Bodies.
clocks should have
Oh,
a
or which are
cross
controlled by
beam.
the bodies. Oh, well, in this case, it could be just bodies, biological clocks. So it'd be D. D would work too. In this case, it wouldn't have to be
Yeah.
plural bodies.
It's
Because it's just talking about a body in general.
the
So it'd be
body.
C.
A bodies,
Yeah.
biological clock.
The biological clock
Wait,
belongs to the
but
body.
there's only one clock though. Isn't
Oh,
there?
wait,
Is
what
there
am I thinking?
multiple
Yeah,
clocks?
D.
One.
Oh,
So a body's biological clock.
Oh,
Body's biological
Clock's D.
clock.
But there's only one.
is. Okay. Like any other health problems, these ailments can increase employee absenteeism, which
What's
in
that?
turn is costly,
it's when
or
employees are
costly,
Yeah,
is being,
absenteeism.
have been costly. Like I just said, them.
Which in turn is costly for employees, which are
In
which
turn
have
are,
been.
which
I think it's is.
being.
I think you should just keep it on. Like any other health problems, these ailments can increase employee absenteeism. Is that how you pronounce it? Absenteeism.
Which in
Which in turn is costly for employers, yeah.
Which in turn
has
are,
been
which in turn
have
are
been, no.
costly for employees, which in turn is being costly for employees.
is
Have been.
Have been makes sense, right? Have been cost.
No, it's still
because this
going
is
on.
in present. Present.
Okay, employees who feel less than 100% and are sleep deprived are also prone to work at their maximal product.
Really?
One company in California gained a huge boost in its employees' morale. Which choice best supports the statement made in the previous sentence? Employees who feel less than
No, it's that sentence.
No, in the
No,
previous
the previous
sentence.
Oh.
Employees who are less than 100% and are sleep deprived are also less prone to work at their maximum productivity. One company in California gained a huge boost in employees' morale. Instead, saw a 5% increase in productivity, saved a great deal on its operational. I think it should be productivity
Yeah.
because it's talking about maximum. Yeah.
Last
'Cause
sentence
it
you
does
finished
talk about
reading?
morale.
when it moved from an artificially lit distribution facility to one with natural
So
illumination.
B, because it's talking about productivity in the sentence before, not morale.
Sorry.
Although morale would increase productivity. Bless you. Artificial light sources are also costly. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Artificial light sources are also costly. Aside from lowering worker productivity, they typically constitute anywhere from 25 to 50% of a building's energy use. When a plant in Seattle, Washington was redesigned for more natural light, the company was able to enjoy annual electricity cost reduction of $500,000 each year. In context, which choice best combines the underlined sentences?
Artificial light sources are also costly. Aside from lowering worker productivity, they typically constitute anywhere from 25 to 50% of the building's energy use.
You could add an and, right?
You could literally just add
Add a comma.
not semicolon. What's it called? A colon.
It would be more semicolon. Colon is more like listing.
If it's just combining
colons
it,
are-
Oh
it's
no, sorry, I
semicolon.
mixed them up. Semicolon.
Aside from lowering worker productivity, artificial light sources are also costly, typically constituting anywhere from 25 to 50% of a building's energy use. That works.
That works.
Yeah. The cost of artificial light sources, aside from lowering worker productivity, typically constitutes anywhere from
25% to 50% of a building's energy use. See, typically constituting 25 to 50% of a building's energy use. Artificial light sources lower worker productivity and are costly.
that doesn't work.
Artificial lights which lower worker productivity and are costly typically constitute anywhere from 25 to 50% of a building's energy. C and D here. Not good.
So A.
A or B? The cost of artificial light sources, aside from lowering worker productivity, typically typically constitutes anywhere from 25 to 50% of a building's energy use.
I think B would probably work better because you could
It flows better too,
since it
because it's like that's something that's not
because
Yeah.
see it's surrounded by
Can you take it
commas.
away?
You can take it out
Yeah.
and it makes a sentence.
So I think B. Do you want to check that one?
See, because if you look at your
That
aside
one's
from lowering,
5.
because
Yeah.
for A it says aside.
It works. It's just not.
No, it doesn't work because if you take it has the
If
commas around it and you, if
No,
you
those
take
don't
it out,
have.
it doesn't work.
Yeah,
It's
but
B.
Oh yeah, makes sense. You're right. It would be. Anyway, that's fine. It's B. Okay. When a plant in Seattle, Washington was redesigned for more natural light, the company was able to enjoy annual electricity cost reductions of $500,000 each year
Per year.
per year.
thus,
There's actually never mind. Go ahead.
among the possibilities to reconfigure a building's lighting is the installation of full pane windows, windows to allow the greatest degree of sunlight to reach the office interiors. Thus, business can install light tubes. These are pipes placed in workplace roofs to capture and funnel sunlight down into a building's interior. So, thus, it can be nevertheless, business can install light tubes. Alternatively, businesses can install light tubes.
Alternatively.
Or finally, built businesses can.
Alternatively works too, doesn't it though?
Alternatively,
Because
businesses
it's
can
not
install light
thus
tubes.
through the
These
full
are
pane. Light tubes aren't related to the full pane. It's like
Oh yeah.
alternative.
Yeah.
okay. Alternatively, and then again. These are pipes placed in the workplace roofs to capture and funnel sunlight down into a building,
Which are?
building's interior.
Which are
Those being.
thus businesses can install light tubes, which are pipes placed in workplaces roofs to capture.
Yeah. Okay. Glass walls and dividers can also be used to replace solid walls as means through disturbing natural light from more distributing natural light more freely.
As a means of.
Okay, that's it.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Glass walls and dividers can also be used to replace solid walls as a means through distributing natural light.
Means of.
Means, yeah, that's means of, but there's no of. Oh, wait, it's
Yeah,
11.
there is.
I was looking at 10, sorry.
That's it. Didn't it say just 1 through 11?
Yeah, this is the next paragraphs.
That's the next section.
Simple?
Yeah, writing in languages is pretty
Easy.
reading.
It's
Reading is
Harder. It's not
It's
that
not
hard,
hard.
but it's harder.
It's comprehension.
Have you done the reading portion in Khan Academy?
No.
On the practice problems, do that. It's pretty hard. Have you done it?
I've done the I use Magoosh, which is like an official SAT practice website.
Really? College Board partnered with Khan Academy. They made a bunch of practice problems. It's really helpful. I haven't done it.
But
which
the
should
SAT
have.
I took was way easier than the practice problems I was doing.
Really?
It was like
Yeah, the
practice
reading
problem.
practice in Khan Academy is super hard.
The practice problems on the website I was using, I got like 40% of them correct, and then on the SAT it was like 30 times more easier. I was just like, why was I? It was all basic algebra. So
Khan Academy takes you topic by topic, like it specifies all the topics in the SAT, and then it makes you master each topic.
Done? Somebody's coming?
Is your dad here?
I'll call him.
So how was your day doing?
good. Mish.
What'd you do?
I had to take my dad's sister to this lady's house, and she just hit their bell like 5 times, but they never came out.
Where are you?
Okay, thanks. Drive safe.
Okay.
Drive safe. Don't drive outside.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Here you go.
Are you coming at 6:30?
7:30. Please come.
You didn't come yesterday.
I know.
Why should I
I couldn't
come?
find my belt. I'm
Why should I
sorry.
come?
I'm sorry.
No, you literally said you wanted to forget your belt so you could wear the camo belt.
I know, but I forgot about the camel belt. I really did. That would have been so embarrassing. And I don't even remember tag at 6, which I've learned like 4 times now.
That I'm ashamed of you. Why?
I know I've
Oh, has
traveled
he
in search of
already
YouTube videos of tag at 6. And cram.
What have you been doing today?
Forget about my numbers. That's a whole
How do you-
different story.
You don't know?
Yes, sir.
Please come.
How do you know?
And forget what is done.
Why?
You're old.
How old are you? I'm
This-
sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
65.
56.
I'll give you a box of raisins.
Who's closer, 56 or 65? Oh, 60.
I literally.
Are you
We
50s?
just got a giant bag of lemons like 2 days ago.
Early
I
50s?
will sneak you a lemon.
52.
54.
51.
Middle.
55.
I'm only 10 years up.
Very yellow.
54.
Bright
I
yellow.
guess so.
Will blind your eyes yellow.
Wait, Radhika. Wait, no, Ritisha. When were you
You know
born?
you want.
When was I born?
Yeah.
When? Like what time?
No, like what day?
Oh.
You said she's
June 29th.
older than you, right?
You're not?
Yeah. She was telling the other day you look
I just assumed.
older than her.
I didn't say that.
I'm a year
just
younger
assumed.
than you.
Really? What?
She's
But you look
November
older.
2nd, 2004. You're
Oh.
June 28, 2004.
Yeah, so it's
So I'm
not a
like
year, it's just
supposed
a
to
couple
be-
years.
29, 2005 or 2004?
2005. I'm not.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, wait, why
So
did
what
I
is
say that?
it done?
A year and day.
Wait,
I just
Yeah.
assumed because most people in my grade are older than me.
Same.
I know like 2 people who are.
Oh, the
Yeah,
youngest
but-
person in my grade was born.
She's younger than me by like 6 days.
I know.
She's younger than you, Sanjana Jane's younger than you, Ragna's younger than
Sanjana
you.
Jan is.
No, she is. September.
She was 15 though.
She's 14, bro.
For real?
Yeah.
She had a birthday and all of that.
Yeah, she
That's
turned
yours.
14.
I didn't do anything.
That's yours.
She's 2004 too.
She abuses me all the time. I should tell her to respect me.
Oh, please. Sanjana
Smells like
is
bananas.
a softie.
She abuses me like all the time. A lot like Ratisha actually. Both of you have a natural tendency
I
to
guess
kick at my
technically
head.
people just naturally